Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Today we're going to do a twin flame check-in, see what's going on for masculines and feminines. Masculine collective energy, feminine collective energy. I feel like I have to say that every time to remind us that we inhabit both energies, that both energies are part of our makeup and we're responsible and accountable for both journeys. All right, let's drop in. Okay, masculines on the left, feminines on the right, union energies down the center for masculine spirit. Thank you so much. Interesting. Parenting in reverse for masculines. Okay, maybe needing to parent children, maybe needing to parent parts of self. We also have teaching and learning. So far we have throat chakra, solar plexus, and crown chakra showing up. Let's see. Anything else for masculines? Leadership in reverse. I don't think that that's an accident. Sorry, I have my desk tripod, so it's limited of how much we could fit here. Okay, for feminine spirit, for feminines. Okay, we have an avalanche. Let's see. Oh my goodness, feminines, you keep getting this. Creativity in reverse, individuality and personal growth. This creativity in reverse though, I think feminine collective is on a journey of loving self. And I think it's a long-term journey. We've been dealing with this inner work, outer work for a very long time. So it's not an accident that it continues to show up. And for union energy spirit, for union energies, thank you. We have timeout in reverse. This came out in the union energies. Was it a twin flame reading or a collective? I don't know. Let's keep going. Moderation in reverse. All right, so something needs to come into balance. Most likely it's your rest, your time alone, your time to reflect, the time that you can take a break from whatever you're doing, whether that's parenting and family, whether it's work, whether it's working on yourself, doing inner work. It's time to bring rest into the equation. Anything else for collective? Thank you. And then we have pride in reverse. Gosh, the same. It's not I've shuffled this deck a million times between readings. All right, maybe not a million. That's a little exaggeration, but many times. And we continue to get the same messages. It'll be different decks, it'll be different cards, but we continue to get the same message, everyone, that we need to take pride in the journey we've walked and traveled thus far. If you can't learn how to celebrate and be grateful and have gratitude for what you've already traversed, for all the trials and tribulations that you've overcome, why would the divine give you more? If your work is in learning how to celebrate yourself in these moments of pause. But it makes sense to me that you can't listen. If you are moving so fast that you're never taking time to reflect, it makes sense to me that you wouldn't feel proud of yourself because you don't even acknowledge, you're not even acknowledging how much you've accomplished, how far you've traveled. Here's a random example. Have you ever watched something or read something from an old version of yourself and cringed? Like, I'm 40 years old. I had Facebook in college. It came out like when I think it was created in like September, and by like October, November, my university had it. It was very in the early days. And back then, Facebook was only used to connect with people on campus, people in your classes, to get notes. It was like a personal / impersonal way to connect with a bunch of people who are in your circle. Why am I telling you this? Oh, so point being, I've had my Facebook account since 2004. So as you could imagine, some of my Facebook memories from back then are things I've said or done or whatever, and I'm cringing because of who I was back then. This is a really important marker for ascension and growth. It's proof of growth. Anytime you catch yourself cringing at something you used to do or something someone else is doing, it's showing you how far you've come. you're cringing because you're no longer that person, right? That person wouldn't know to cringe because they just were that way. But instead, now you're cringing at those old behaviors, or maybe it's something silly like your old fashion choices, or, you know, your old, the people you used to date back then, or whatever it is. But honor that these little funny moments are actually markers from your growth. It's like proof of transformation. You're cringing because you're able to separate yourself and acknowledge that you no longer are that way anymore. It's really important. And it could be anything. I just gave you that silly social media example, but you know, like, have you ever read old emails or like found an old phone with your old messages on it and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that or did that, or, you know, and it's, sometimes, you know, one, yes, we have to have a lot of grace for these old, earlier versions of self, but most importantly, celebrate who they were, because however they were the version of self that got you to where you are today, right? Okay. I don't know why I felt like shuffling the same deck. Anything else for Union Energy, Spirit? Anything else? Thank you. All right, we're going to call it there. What do we have? Patience and spiritual career in reverse. You know, we just keep getting these messages. We just keep getting the same messages. On the other side of you acknowledging how far you've come is this sort of grander alignment, this deeper alignment. Maybe it is a spiritual career. You know, I hesitate to take that card literally, but then I laugh because I guarantee the people that are, you know, listening to me, people, the type of people that would listen to me are people that are most likely wounded healers. We're all wounded healers. You know, that's how this whole planet works. We come here to learn something. We go through the trials and tribulations, the pain, the suffering, whatever it is. We learn how to overcome it. We take action towards overcoming it, integrate it, and embody that new version of self. And then what do? We go and teach others how to do it. That is the whole point of this message, to be in service to the collective. So for some of you, what's on the other side of you learning how to come into your maturity regarding this path? Listen, if you're continuing to hammer away and if you've become sort of like a workaholic on this spiritual path, it's not sustainable. So of course you're not going to experience change and growth and deeper alignment if you're already not able to sustain the path that's in front of you. So on the other side of being able to manage your energy appropriately, sustainably, is this spiritual career, is this feeling of pride, is the ability to temper oneself. I actually had a dream last night. I'm not going to go into the narrative, but a core message of my dream was about moderation. I was put in a situation where I had to parent a certain type of energy, and I did it. I did it in the dream, and for me, that felt like a message for me that I could trust my inner parent, that I could parent the energies that were coming through. And when the universe sees that we are trustworthy, we are given more. That's a really important message, masculines and feminines. So pay attention. I'm debating if I want to take this shadow position. I already looked at it, but are we going to talk about it? I'll just say it. We have follow your dreams in the false shadow. I'm going to put this here so we could remember that it's there. I'm sorry if it's not on camera. Actually, we could make it on camera. Hold, please. Let's just let's go this way. I really apologize for the camera angles, but I feel like it's the best way to see everything. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, moving on. So again, for those of you that know me, when we have a reversal in the shadow position, it means you think you have a dream that you're chasing after and you think that's what you're pushing away. Like maybe for me, writing has always been that thing. No, that's a terrible example. Moving on. Some of you think you're pushing away a dream, but actually it's not the dream you're thinking of. It's a false shadow, meaning it's like something has power over you that doesn't need to. You know, it's like the perception is off. something you think has power over you actually doesn't. That's what I've been trying to say this whole time. Forgive my brain. Okay, moving on. Did we talk about feminine, masculine? Not really, a little bit. Do we need to say more? Masculines, you've been getting on and off. When I first started on YouTube over a year ago, and started doing collective twin flame readings, you would get the leadership card in some deck, in some capacity, almost every reading. And it is in reverse, and it usually comes out in reverse because so much of the masculine collective has been learning to integrate their inner feminine. And that's a lot of work to do because there's such deep reference points of, maybe devaluing the feminine or criticizing or taking from the feminine. There's been a lot of pain towards the feminine as well as masculine. I'm not leaving you out, but specifically regarding leadership, there's been a lot of disrespect towards the inner feminine. Let's just focus on the inner feminine. So masculines, it's not an accident to me that you're learning to parent these energies. You're learning to respect and also exalt both your inner masculine and inner feminine, to actually understand that without the balance, you cannot step into leadership, into this role. Oh, you can't see it, but into this role as, someone who is meant to teach and share what they've learned for the next collective, next generation, next group of people. Let's move on. Okay, where are we going, Spirit? Where are we going? Whoa, I just got like very lightheaded and dizzy. That's interesting. I'm just going to sit with that for a moment. I might even... hold, please. Sorry about that. I had to get a sip of water. I really... sometimes these energies... It's an amalgam of things. It's the energy that's coming through me and all the messages, but it's also my energy output through my interpretation. Sometimes it really sucks the energy out of me. Sometimes it gives me energy. It just really depends on what's moving in the collective. Okay, and for feminines, we didn't talk about the feminines. We talked a little bit. So we have this individuality card. It's a root chakra. It's an 11 card. For me, you've heard me say this before, 11s to me symbolize pillars of ascension, meaning it's a portal, it's a doorway that we are being asked to walk through, feminines. It's a rite of passage and hero's journey, this path of individuation. The word individuation is from, I think, Carl Jung. I don't know if that's where the first time it came from, but this idea of becoming an individual, stepping into your sovereignty and unplugging your circuitry, your energy, your internal narratives of how you relate to the world from your family. Becoming an individual from your family of origin is what I'm trying to say. Forgive me. Feminines, part of this personal growth journey is you're no longer identifying yourself through your upbringing, through your family. Part of this personal growth is becoming who you've always meant to be. I would bet, what do I want to bet? I would bet 8 out of 10 times that's the person who is doing the most inner work is the shaman of the family, is the magical person, the mystical person, the healer of the family. It's the person in the family who has seen and heard everything, who has been connecting the dots, putting all the puzzle pieces together to try and heal from the lineage, to try to heal from the ancestral trauma and ancestral wounding, the patterns of behavior from the family. So, that could be a really difficult thing, but it's, as you do this, it'll boost your confidence to, sorry, hold on. I just had all the energy go out from me. Feminines, the more you ground in spirit, the easier this will be. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, let's see. Anything else? Any specific question for masculines? What is blocking leadership from coming in? Let's just get really specific with it. What is blocking leadership, or what do they need to know about the solution to this block, overcoming this block? Whoa, we got a bunch. Hold on. I'm not going to take these, but I will take these. We have child and rebirth in reverse. Oh, very interesting. Very, very interesting here. It's not an accident. We have parenting in reverse. We have child and then rebirth in reverse. So something's stuck. Something stuck, masculines, regarding, if some of you have children, masculines, and you're stuck in some sort of karmic loop, either with the parent of the child, or maybe your own child is having, like, maybe they've had issues where it's been very challenging for you to parent them. The way through this, or the way to overcome this, is to learn how to take care of your inner child, to go back into your history, right? Because our biology is our biography. Our biology, our physiology actually holds the narrative of our childhood, of our history, of our entire lives in the fascia, in the cells, in the tissue, in the muscle memory. So in order for you to kind of rebirth yourself as a family leader, I'm so dense. I'm just realizing this really obvious message. Yes, some of you have not been able to step into that sort of exalted eldership role, that some of you haven't been able to take that role in the family. Maybe you haven't had the respect as an elder, maybe for whatever reason. I can't, each of you have your own narrative. I can't tell you exactly what that is, but until you parent your inner child, until you overcome that sort of hurdle of parenting, you're not going to be seen as a parent, right? Because you're letting your inner child run amok. It's like, if you can't control your own inner child, how can you control the world around you? Control's not the best word. Manage the energy, right? We're talking about energies here. So yeah, masculines, you have your work cut out for you. And if you've been trying to reach externally for a solution and it hasn't been working for you, it's because the pathway is leading you internally. It's leading you inward, okay? All right. For feminines, is there a specific question here? What would support their individuation and stepping into their sovereignty? What would support their self-esteem right now and self-love? What do we need to know? What are the blocks showing up? What are the solutions to those blocks? Thank you. We have true love and protection from illness. That's really interesting. Yeah, I think this is speaking... Sorry, let me show you these. I think this is speaking about appropriately discerning the hierarchy of values in your own life. Essentially, you should be at the top of the food chain. You should put yourself as your truest love and highest priority. And part of that, man, I mean, that's such a tall order. Let's just honor what a big thing that is. Yeah, it's a hard thing to shift our priorities. But when you do this, when you understand that you cannot pour from an empty cup, you've heard this phrase. I actually cringe saying it because I just want a better phrase. You've heard you can't pour from an empty cup. I'm sure you've heard, the airplane thing of like, you have to put your mask on first before you can put anyone else's mask on. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. It's true. It's just, I just am like so sick of saying it. So if any of you have a better version of that, please share it below. Really falling in love with who you are. really being the beloved, being the lover that you always wish you had, being that for yourself. When you come into this final sort of, I don't know why, I want to say goddess alignment, this, when you truly know your worth, you will be protected from illness. Now, illness could be a 3D tangible, like an actual sickness, like the flu, the cold, something like that. But for me, you will be protected energetically. You will be protected from anything that takes you out of alignment, because you will understand the order of operations. You will understand that for anything to come into the realm of matter, it has to first start in the realm of spirit, in the realm of energy. So when you could step into your self-love and sovereignty in the energetics before it gets to your physical life, that's when you're going to start kind of flowing, and that's when things will start making sense to you. All right, what would support the collective in taking a time out and coming into temperance, or what's blocking all of this? I'm not going to lie, my third eye is spinning. Like, I feel really dizzy right now, and I'm wondering if that means I'm meant to stop. Let's just get a couple messages for union energies. I used to stand up and do these readings, and I felt like it was better because I could move the energy, and simultaneously as it was coming through, I would transmute. And because of my desk setup, I've been sitting, and it's like the energy feels like a rock at the bottom of a boulder at the bottom of the ocean. Thank you, Spirit. All right, we have a few cards. We have fame, wisdom, and wealth. Wow. Okay, then. So on the other side of you taking a break to assess how far you've come, to assess the energies, to be able to become masterful at your energy distribution and discernment, on the other side of this is fame, wisdom, and wealth. I mean, take that as a shallow interpretation, take it as a deep interpretation. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. When you're firing on all cylinders with spirit, when you are connected to source and you're honoring your boundaries, both energetically and physically, you will have all of the wisdom. You will have all of the discernment. You will be able to access your intuition. Maybe that means you'll know how to create wealth, or wealth will come in, or it's a wealth of knowledge or wisdom or family or energy. Fame might, for me in this reading, this means that your true gift will be able to come forward, and you will be exalted for that gift. But it's less about external praise and more about internal praise. You'll finally understand your role in this life, your soul mission, your soul purpose, and you'll realize it's not about the validation. It's actually the gift. The alchemical gold that we're all chasing is actually living a life of soul alignment. When you are so completely aligned with what you're doing, you're not in lack. It's impossible to be in lack. You're just you're in flow state. You're flowing with the universe. You get an intuition, you take an action. You get another intuition, you take another action. There's something deeply blissful and peaceful about that. And I think people on the spiritual path, I think it's really important that we start reframing this, that, be honest about your agendas. It's like, I think a lot of people think, when I'm enlightened, I will be wealthy. I'll have the partner of my dreams, the body of my dreams, the bank account of my dreams. And there's nothing wrong with desiring those things. But if you're not in alignment with your soul, with your self-esteem and intuition, those things are going to fall flat. They're not going to have the same, they're not going to occupy the same amount of heart space as they would if you were in alignment. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let me briefly, really quick look at the unconscious position. What does that say? Pride. I mean, come on. You have a reversal pride here, and you have a pride now in the shadow position. Masculines, feminines, why is it so difficult for you to be proud in how far you've come? It's time to bloom. Sometimes sometimes what looks like the easiest thing on the outside is actually the hardest for us to do. You can't force a flower to bloom. However, when a flower is blooming, it's so unbelievably stunning. You can't help but to celebrate like the beauty of this incredible flower, and yet the flower was just doing its thing. And so some of you might not be giving yourself enough credit, like you feel like you're just doing your thing, but honor that if the world is responding to you with gratitude, if you are stepping into your delicious service. Like I don't do as much one-on-one healing work as I did, either through Reiki or it's funny. I'm just going to tell you this. So I started with Reiki, I think in 2008, and I used it all the time, but I didn't use it professionally. And then a decade goes by and I was called to do my mastership in Reiki. So I did that. And then literally the year I was called to do that was my spiritual awakening. I was 33 years old, which is my Christ year. So if you are over 33 or if you're in your 33rd year of life, go back and reflect on this time, because for most people, your 33rd year of life is like the shitstorm. It's just where everything happens, where everything's being dismantled so that you can actually access the call to something higher. Long story short, I forget that I'm very good at doing one-on-one healing work. I'm very good at it, and I don't do it often. And I think I don't focus on it because it's very easy for me to do it. So I don't really take as much pride in it as I should. If I'm being honest, it's magical. It's beautiful. It's sacred. I can really help people, but because it's not difficult for me, I think I don't value it. I don't put it up on a pedestal, but I think this is what this is saying. You have to surrender like what you think you're supposed to be doing and allow spirit to steer your ship through the choppy waters of life and to reveal to you what you're supposed to be doing, right? Like, don't take your gifts for granted. It's very easy. Like the healing work. I just did a session just a couple days ago, but it's not like the bulk of my work that I do. And yet I feel like I can almost move the needle the most by doing that type of work. So maybe it's a message for me as well of taking pride in the things that we are very good at. Instead of chasing after what you think you should be doing, just again, take a time out. Let me move this. Take a time out and pause and reflect on what has the world mirrored back to you that you are, how has the world shown you your value? There's so much, I didn't realize how much solar plexus energy was in this reading. I know I mentioned it here and there, but I mean, sometimes I look at these primary cards like a slot machine. I haven't used a slot machine in years, but it's almost like, the ring, and then it like clicks, and I laugh because this would be to me, this is like a jackpot. We have 2 yellow Merkabas and a yellow card and another yellow. To me, it's like 3 solar plexus, like, hey, like jackpot, listen up. We are here to work on our self-esteem. We're here to learn to love ourselves, to manage our power on the planet, to manage what we perceive as power, to dismantle any illusions, to not give our energy and power away to false idols, to things we think have power but really don't. Whew, okay, I'm tired. Let's just get a couple, where do we want to go? I think I need a couple galaxy cards. I call these galaxy cards. That's not the name of them at all. It's called Gateway of Light Activation. Thank you so much. We have Sword of Light, another solar plexus card. Divine Protection, Cords Cut, Breakthrough Energy. We have Earth Star Activation, Anchoring, Grounded Action, Isis Energy, another Divine Feminine card. And then we have sacred inner space, sacral chakra, tenderness, sensuality, and another portal energy here. We have temple of truth, throat chakra, authenticity, self-expression. You know, I forgot what that Spain study regarding what is the highest frequency, what is the highest energetic frequency or emotional I forget what the test was, but basically everyone thinks the highest frequency that exists is love, right? Because that's a very fairy tale beautiful thing to say, but actually the highest frequency that they could measure was authenticity. And so, check yourself. Make sure that in any given moment, you are being your authentic self. If you're not, are you pretending in any capacity? Are you in a relationship where you have to hide certain parts of yourself? Or are you in a relationship, either intimate, romantic, friendship, or even at work? Are you pretending to be something? Are you, are you putting on a mask to fit in? Are you putting on a mask, or are you perceiving you have to put on a mask to be successful in these roles? If you are, it's time to call your spirit back, because you're leaking a ton of power toward that sort of false energy. What's in the unconscious position? Let's take a look. We have memories of Atlantis, spiritual acceleration, progress, technology. Okay, and this is in the shadow position here. I'm going to leave it right in the dead center, because actually, out of everything, this is the most important message of this whole freaking reading. We have to understand that with every new level of ascension, you are going to be asked to do something even more difficult than the last. And yet you're being given that challenge because you have been deemed as someone that can handle it. It's like, it's like in a video game. Every level gets a little harder, right? Because you're working up to the boss level. Or I don't know if that's still how video games work. I haven't played them since like Donkey Kong. So forgive me if that's a really out of touch kind of reference, but we have to honor that with progress. You're becoming someone that can handle more. You're expanding your container. So if you can handle more, you're going to be gifted with more, so that you can kind of test yourself and actually do it and build confidence doing it. And then when you get good at that, you're going to get something else and something else. So you have to stop, try to appropriately, how do I say this, Spirit? Ooh, my brain is not thinking of the word. I'm being shown an image, but I can't access the word for it. Spiritual acceleration, progress, technology. Yeah, surrender what you think the path is going to look like, so the path that's actually unfurling in front of you can make its way into your consciousness. Yeah, that's it. I think I'm going to leave it there. Did we get one? I'm going to grab one spiritual guidance. Hold on. Not even going to shuffle, just going to pull at random. Oh my God. Look at what we have. We have Be Proud. This is our third pride card. It's time to celebrate all that you've achieved, all that you are, and all that you will become. Every once in a while, it's important to stop and acknowledge what you've achieved and to be proud. It's not an accident. You can't make this stuff up, guys. It's time to celebrate. It's time to pause. And if I'm just thinking of people in my life that I know need to pause. Sometimes when the hamster wheel is going so fast, it can feel really scary to stop it. And yet this too is your work, to understand that you are taken care of in the pause, that you can actually, it is safe for you to stop. And if something crumbles when you stop for this very brief amount of time, maybe that something is meant to crumble. Maybe you've been so drained and so exhausted because you're sustaining a system that isn't supposed to exist. And the divine brings in this sort of catalytic, tower moment so it can, so the building can fall, so you can reconstruct it from the foundation. Okay, beautiful, beautiful message, beloveds. I'm going to leave it there. I'm sending you so much love. And please reach out if you have any difficulty, if you have any questions. You could either put them in the comments or reach out. This is what I do. This is my life. This is my career. I'm finally here in this sort of spiritual career that I never thought I would have. And here I am. So I'm in service. So if you need me, you know where to find me. Much love to you, and I'll see you in the next one.